Today I'm going to show you how you can animate illustrations inside of After Effects and Photoshop. It's pretty easy and simple. You'll simply have to follow the steps that I'm going to give you into this video. The first thing to do is simply import your picture inside of Photoshop. Now what you're going to do is simply select your subject. Now that your subject is selected, what you can do is simply fix the imperfections. So I'm simply going to use my lasso tool and fix everything that needs to be fixed. Now that this is done, what you can do is simply copy it. So Ctrl C, then Ctrl V to copy the selection into another layer. Now the subject is isolated. So now what I'm going to do is simply select the pipes in the background. I'm going to start with this pipe right there. So I'm simply going to select it and copy it into another layer for it to be separated from the rest. Now to turn it into a selection, I'm just going to go up there, click on selection, then I'm going to click on OK. And I'm simply going to copy and paste it into another layer. And I'm simply going to rename it. Now as you can see, it's completely isolated. So I'm going to do the same for the other pipe. So I'm simply going to use this tool to select it. You can take your time on this part because the masking is one of the most important parts of a visualizer. Now what you can do is simply click on selection, click on OK, and copy it and paste it into another layer, like we did for the other pipe. Now just rename it to not be lost, and we should be good now. But the only thing that we need to do now is simply delete the subject and the pipes from the background so we can work with a clean slate. And we should be good now. Now to remove everything from the background, just select everything and click on generative fill. And this is going to create a clean background for us in a matter of seconds. So just wait until it's completed. And as you can see, the result is pretty good. So now as you can see, everything is isolated. So now what we're going to do is simply open After Effects and we're going to start animating. What you're going to do now is simply import your PSD file inside of your After Effects project. Click on OK, then double click on the composition. So the first thing I'm going to do is simply put everything in the 3D composition with the 3D5 Pro extension. I'm simply going to click on this button, scale the background up, and simply play it with the camera like this. And just in a matter of seconds, I already have my 3D scene set up. I'm also going to add some shake by clicking on this button. It's going to create a shaky camera. So I'm just going to make a little adjustment with the background. I'm going to scale it up like that. Okay. And then we're going to see how it looks right now. As you can see, it looks pretty decent. The shake is pretty realistic and the 3D effect is there. So now what I'm going to do is simply select my camera and start adding keyframes. I'm going to make an animation. So at the second keyframe, I'm going to zoom in and I'm going to play around with the other axis like this. And I think I'll just push this keyframe a little bit further forward like this. Now I'm going to select all of the keyframes and click on F9. This will make the animation way smoother. So to make the animation loop, what I'm going to do is simply select the first keyframe, copy and paste it, and put it at the end of the composition. And this is going to make your animation loop. Now I'm going to fix a little problem. As you can see, this is cropping out. So you can simply select the layer, and then you're going to have to click on Apply Repeatable Effect on it. Click right there. And as you can see, the problem is fixed, and you don't have to worry about it anymore. I'm simply going to show you guys how it loops. But I think it's missing something, so I'm simply going to add some overlays. I'm going to use my fire overlay pack. So what I'm going to do is simply throw in a little fire right there. I'm going to put it into 3D, and I'm going to push it backwards so it can be behind my subject. So I'm just going to push with the Z axis like this. Then what I'm going to do is simply scale it up, and then I'm just going to change the mode, the blending mode, simply by clicking on this, click on normal, and then I'm going to put it at lighten. And if we play it, you can see that the fire animation is pretty good, but it's not a long video. But fortunately for us, you can copy and paste it into the whole composition, since the fire animation is a loopable animation, so it will loop seamlessly. Now I'm going to simply add another fire overlay for the lighter that he has in his hands. So I'm simply going to drag and drop, and I'm simply going to do the same thing that we did for the other fire overlay. Put the mode at lighten. I'm going to scale it down like that. Just make sure that it's properly scaled. Now what you can do is simply position it. Just make sure that it's in the end of the subject. Now don't forget to put the layer to a 3D layer like this. And the Z position has to match the Z position of the subject. So what we're going to do is simply check the Z position of the subject. It's 1000. So simply write 1000 with the fire overlay. Now you can place the fire back in his hands. So just make sure that it's right there. Now what you can do is simply copy and paste the layer for the fire animation to loop all over your composition. I also noticed that a lot of you guys that were watching my videos were not actually subscribed to my YouTube channel. So if you're not subscribed and you're watching, please do. It helps me and motivates me to do more videos like this. And if you want to learn more about editing, why not? Now I'm going to go back from the composition and I'm going to add my visual enhancer. The link will be in my description. You can simply apply it to your composition, and as you can see, everything will look better. And every resources that I used in this video, like the 3D extension called 3D5 Pro, the fire overlays, and the visual enhancer, every link will be inside of my description, so feel free to simply check it out. And with that being said, here's the final result. Hope you guys liked the video. Don't hesitate to subscribe, leave a like, and I'll see you guys in another video.